A galaxy-abandoned starship, reforged into a superweapon by one human mechanic. The stars stretched endlessly in every direction, cold and indifferent, as if the galaxy itself had forgotten this corner. Among the drifting lights and dark emptiness floated a ship unlike any other. Its hull was scarred, pitted with holes from battles long past, and faint lines of alien energy glowed beneath the metal surface. It moved slowly, though without engines, as if the void itself had claimed it as its own. Jax Halden, a human mechanic from the mining colony of Virak, saw it first as a glint on his scanner. His small shuttle creaked as he maneuvered closer, the only sound the soft hum of his engines and the occasional rattle of old panels. He had heard tales of abandoned alien vessels drifting between star systems, ghost ships left by civilizations that had vanished, but he had never expected to see one himself. "Looks like someone forgot their toy," Jax muttered, his voice echoing in the cockpit. He adjusted the throttle, eyes fixed on the enormous hull. The ship was massive, far larger than any human freighter or cruiser. Its shape was strange, almost organic, as though it had grown instead of being built. Curiosity burned in Jax. He was a mechanic, not an explorer or soldier. His life had been simple: repair mining equipment, fix broken ships, and survive in a galaxy where humans were always on the bottom of the food chain. But opportunity stared at him through the void. He could feel it, the chance to find something that could change everything. Docking was the first challenge. The ship had no visible ports, no obvious openings. Jax circled it for hours, scanning for a way inside, avoiding loose debris and broken panels that threatened to punch holes in his shuttle. Finally, he found a scene near the ship's rear that glimmered with faint energy. It looked like a doorway, but alien. He hesitated, studying it. "Here goes nothing," he said. His hands moved quickly, adjusting tools and scanners. He probed the seam, sending tiny pulses of energy to unlock it. The glow shifted, then vanished, revealing a small hatch just large enough for him to squeeze through. The interior was dark, but not silent. A low hum of energy pulsed through the hull, vibrating under his feet. The walls were smooth, metallic, and covered in symbols he did not understand. They glowed faintly, reacting to his presence as if the ship could sense him. Jax's heart raced. "This is insane," he whispered. He activated his flashlight, revealing corridors that twisted and curved like veins. Strange machinery lined the walls, screens displaying alien data that made no sense. He moved cautiously, every step echoing, every shadow shifting unnaturally. Then, without warning, a panel in the ceiling slid open. A drone fell into the corridor with a clatter, its eyes glowing red. Jax leaped back, wrench in hand, ready to defend himself. The drone was small, fast, and armed with blades that flickered like light. He ducked just in time as it lunged. Using quick thinking, he smashed a loose console nearby onto the drone. Sparks flew, and the machine clattered to the floor, motionless. Jax exhaled heavily, realizing he had only just survived. "Okay, clearly, this ship doesn't like visitors," he muttered. Despite the danger, he pressed on. Humans were not meant to be afraid in these moments. They were meant to survive, to think, to improvise. That instinct carried him deeper into the vessel. Hours passed. He mapped corridors, discovered storage rooms filled with strange tools, and glimpsed what looked like sleeping chambers, though no life had entered them for centuries. Every step revealed more alien technology, more energy, and more secrets. He felt like a ghost himself, wandering in the ruins of a long-dead civilization. In a central chamber, he found it, the control core. It floated in the center of the room, a sphere of light and energy surrounded by intricate machinery. It pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. Jax approached it cautiously, scanning the energy flows. "This is bigger than anything I've seen," he said, running a hand over his scanner. It reacted instantly, lights dancing in response to his touch. The ship was alive, or at least aware, and somehow it was curious about him. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed, and the room shuddered. Jax ducked as alien defense systems activated. Turrets emerged from the walls, energy beams slicing through the air where he had just stood. Not ideal, he muttered, rolling to the side. Using the debris from earlier, he created makeshift barriers, dodging blasts and returning fire with his small tools, which somehow short-circuited alien circuits. The ship's systems were sophisticated, but human creativity was unpredictable. That unpredictability was his weapon. Minutes felt like hours. The room stilled, smoke hung in the air, and sparks rained from broken consoles. Jax looked at the control core again. It was unharmed, glowing steadily, as if approving of his resilience. He smiled faintly. Well, maybe you and I can work together. He learned that many systems could be influenced by human logic and intuition. Though the technology was alien, it responded to improvisation rather than brute force. Every time he fixed a broken console or rerouted energy flows, the ship seemed to react. Almost as if learning from him, he discovered storage bays filled with weapons, but alien ones, pulses of energy and projectiles unlike anything humans had ever built. This ship, once abandoned and feared, could be re-engineered into a human superweapon, but the galaxy was never silent. While he studied and repaired, his sensors picked up distant signals, alien scavengers, curious explorers, and mercenary hunters. They had likely detected the energy signature of the vessel. If they found it first, it would be lost forever, or worse, used against human colonies. Jax's thoughts raced. He was only one man, with a small shuttle and human tools. Yet, he felt no fear, only determination. Humans had always been underestimated. No alien intelligence, no powerful empire had ever expected a lone human to succeed against the odds. He made a decision. The ship would not remain abandoned. It would not become someone else's weapon. He would claim it, repair it, and unlock its full potential. It would become a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. As night fell over the void outside, Jax activated a console and sent energy surges through the ship, watching as its dormant systems hummed to life. Panels illuminated corridors, and weapons bays opened, inert but ready. The ship responded to him, reacting to his commands in ways no alien pilot could have anticipated. He stepped back, eyes wide, heart pounding. "You're mine now," he said softly. "And, together, we'll show the galaxy what humans can do." But deep in the shadows of the central chamber, hidden sensors began to stir. The ship was not only alive, it was watching him. Its ancient systems had recorded everything. Intruders, defenses, failures, successes. It seemed to judge Jax, and for the first time, he wondered if he had awakened something he might not fully control. Outside, distant stars glimmered, indifferent witnesses to what was about to unfold. Somewhere in the galaxy, fleets would stir, rumors would spread, and the name of a lone human mechanic would begin to echo where it had never been heard before. Jax looked out through the observation window at the endless stars. He was small, insignificant in scale, yet inside this massive vessel, he held potential beyond measure. And as the ship's core pulsed with newfound energy, he realized the truth. Humans were underestimated, not because they were weak, but because they were unpredictable, relentless, and capable of extraordinary ingenuity. A new chapter of human legend was about to begin. The stars outside the observation window shimmered coldly, as if mocking Jax Halden's audacity. Inside the abandoned alien starship, the low hum of energy was no longer just a background noise. It was a pulse, almost alive, almost aware of him. Jax had spent days exploring, repairing, and testing small systems, but now he knew that fixing the ship would require more than luck or tools. He would have to think like the aliens who built it. He walked through a twisting corridor, his boots clanging against the metal floor. Panels of alien writing glowed faintly as he passed, responding to his presence. Each glow seemed to speak to him, though he did not understand the words. Still, Jax could feel patterns. Alien tech was precise, logical, predictable, but not flexible. Humans, on the other hand, could improvise. That would be his advantage. Jax stopped at a control console. The alien symbols shifted under his fingers. He pressed buttons at random at first, letting the ship's systems react. Sparks flew, and a panel hissed, but then the console came alive. Lights blinked, circuits hummed, and the map of the ship appeared in holographic form. Jax smiled. "This is huge," he whispered. I can finally see everything. The map revealed storage bays, energy conduits, and strange rooms filled with alien machines. One chamber pulsed brighter than the others. He approached it carefully. Inside, he found weapon systems unlike anything humans had built: energy cannons, pulse beams, and drones, capable of autonomous combat. The technology was beautiful and terrifying, but utterly incomplete. Many systems were offline, as if waiting for someone to connect them. Jax's mind raced. He realized that the ship was a perfect blank canvas, capable of immense destruction, but it required human creativity to unlock its full potential. He set to work. The first challenge was the power grid. Alien energy cores hummed, but they did not respond to his human tools. Jax improvised, combining human wiring techniques with alien interfaces. Sparks flew, alarms sounded, but slowly, the systems began to stabilize. He rerouted energy flows through human circuits, creating a hybrid system that could handle the alien technology. Hours passed, days. Sleep became a luxury he could not afford. He ate recycled rations, rested in the small observation deck, and returned to work. With every adjustment, he learned more about the ship. It was adaptive, capable of responding to him, but only when he applied ingenuity rather than force. That was when the first intruder arrived. Sensors blinked urgently. A small fleet of scavengers, alien in design, had detected the ship's energy signature. Their ship swarmed like hungry insects, weapons trained on the derelict vessel. Jax had no fleet, no defenses outside the ship itself, but he smiled grimly. Humans had never relied on numbers alone. He activated a series of improvised defenses. Panels dropped from the ceiling, revealing automated pulse emitters that he had rigged from alien circuits. Laser grids hummed across corridors. He even rigged a hallway to collapse, crushing a drone that tried to board. The first wave of attackers broke apart against his traps. Jax moved like a shadow, guiding the ship's defenses with intuition. He dodged, ran, and improvised attacks that no alien could have predicted. One by one, intruders fell, unable to anticipate the creativity of a human mind. Still, he knew this was only the beginning. If the ship was as valuable as it seemed, others would come. Bigger fleets, smarter enemies. He had to prepare. Jax began to modify the ship itself. Alien weapons were precise but rigid. He rewired some of them to respond to human commands, giving them flexibility. He created hybrid drones, small and fast, controlled not by the ship's AI, but by his own logic. Every adjustment made the vessel stronger, faster, smarter, but still something only a human could fully operate. In the evenings, he studied alien schematics, trying to understand how their systems connected. At first, the symbols made no sense, but patterns emerged. The aliens had built their ship for war, but they had overlooked one flaw. It could only adapt based on logic, not creativity. Humans, unpredictable and imaginative, could exploit that flaw. Jax experimented with weapons calibration. He learned to combine pulse beams with gravity fields, creating small but devastating explosions. He merged alien drone control with human tactics, allowing drones to act like soldiers rather than programmed machines. By the end of the first week, the ship was no longer just abandoned technology. It was alive with potential, waiting for him to push it further. Then came the next challenge: mobility. The engines were old, and the ship's navigation systems were alien. Jax studied star maps, applied human intuition, and improvised new drives using a combination of alien energy cores and human propulsion concepts. He tested them in small bursts. Sparks shot across the engines. Corridors shook, but gradually, the ship responded. It could move, maneuver, and even accelerate beyond what humans thought possible. But the galaxy was not patient. More intruders appeared. This time, a small fleet of alien mercenaries arrived, scanning for the abandoned ship. Jax barely had time to react. Using clever tricks, he masked the ship's energy signature and led the attackers into an asteroid field. There, using gravity fields from the ship's systems, he sent rocks tumbling into the enemy fleet. Explosions lit the void as he escaped, small but victorious. For the first time, Jax realized the full scope of what he held. This ship could not only defend itself, It could fight entire fleets if he could unlock all its systems. And humans were the only ones clever enough to make it work. He returned to the ship's core chamber, sweat dripping, tools clanking. Panels lit up as he approached, responding to his presence. The ship seemed to trust him, or at least recognize that he was no ordinary intruder. He smiled faintly. "You and I, we're going to be unstoppable," he said softly. Over the next few weeks, he worked tirelessly. He repaired energy conduits, redesigned weapon systems, and tested drones in the empty corridors. He even created a small control interface that allowed him to coordinate all the ship's systems at once. Alien technology had the raw power, but human ingenuity was what brought it to life. Yet even as he worked, he knew the galaxy would not leave him alone. Rumors of a ghost ship had already begun to spread. Scouts, spies, and bounty hunters would soon arrive, eager to claim the vessel. The challenge was clear. He needed to finish before anyone else found him. Late one night, as he rested briefly in the observation deck, the ship pulsed around him. Lights glimmered on the walls, patterns moving like thoughts. For a moment, he felt something alien, something almost alive, watching him. And then, as quickly as it had come, the sensation passed. Jax smiled tiredly. "I'm not afraid of you," he said. "We're on the same side now. You need me, and I need you." But even he could not know if the ship would truly obey him, or if it would become a force beyond anyone's control. That thought lingered as he drifted into a fitful sleep. Morning came, and with it, a new challenge. His sensors detected another ship approaching. Larger this time, a sleek vessel designed for combat. The fleet's captain had clearly heard the stories of the abandoned starship and intended to seize it by force. Jax gritted his teeth. This was the moment to prove human ingenuity could outmatch entire alien fleets. He activated the ship's weapons bays, rerouted power to the pulse beams, and launched drones designed for reconnaissance and sabotage. He had prepared for this moment, knowing it would come. He could feel the ship responding, almost eager to test its new systems. When the enemy fleet arrived, Jax used the asteroid belt to his advantage again. He directed drones to cut off communications and disable engines. Pulse beams flashed across the void, striking with precision no human pilot alone could achieve. The alien ships, advanced and numerous, faltered against tactics they could not predict. Hours passed in a tense, silent ballet of energy and strategy. And by the end, the enemy fleet had retreated, battered and humiliated. Jax stood in the core chamber, breathing heavily. The ship had fought alongside him, a perfect blend of alien design and human intuition. He knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would not wait. More enemies would come. More challenges would arise, but Jax also knew something else. Humans could never be underestimated again. One mind, one mechanic, had turned an abandoned starship into a weapon no alien fleet could ignore. As he looked out into the void, the stars seemed brighter. He smiled, feeling a strange kinship with the ship around him. Together, they were unstoppable. Together, they could face the galaxy and win. The derelict vessel, once abandoned and forgotten, was now alive, dangerous, and human-driven. And Jax knew that the next step would be the most dangerous of all, testing the ship against real enemies in the wider galaxy. The stars outside the observation window were no longer calm and silent. In the depths of space, distant flashes hinted at activity. Fleets moving, systems scanning, rumors spreading. Jax Halden had done the impossible. He had claimed the abandoned alien starship and brought it partially to life. But now, the galaxy was beginning to notice. For days, he monitored incoming signals. Scout ships, enemy drones, even messages from human colonies curious about the sudden energy spike. The more he listened, the clearer it became. The abandoned starship was now the most dangerous weapon in this sector of space, and everyone wanted it. Jax leaned back in his chair, rubbing his eyes. "They'll come eventually," he muttered. "They always do." And soon enough, they did. A fleet of alien warships appeared on the scanner, sleek and deadly, numbering far more than any human vessel could face. But Jax did not panic. Fear had never been his ally. Human ingenuity was. He activated the ship's weapons bays, rerouted energy to defensive shields, and began testing mobility. The alien fleet expected a stationary target, a relic easy to capture. Instead, Jax moved the Starship with unpredictable maneuvers, using asteroid fields and gravitational anomalies as cover. The first strike came unexpectedly. A pulse beam tore through space where the ship had been just seconds before. Jax laughed under his breath. "Predictable," he muttered, and altered the ship's trajectory. A drone flitted out of a hidden bay, small but fast, striking the attacking vessel's engines. Sparks exploded across its hull. The alien fleet was organized, experienced, and powerful, but they were rigid in strategy. They relied on logic and expectation, something humans could defy. Jax had learned to think several moves ahead, improvising attacks, creating distractions, and using the ship's adaptive systems to exploit every flaw. He launched drones in coordinated swarms, each one controlled by a system he had modified to anticipate enemy movements. Pulse beams fired in arcs, slicing through enemy shields. Gravity distortions destabilized formations, and the alien fleet struggled to respond. Hours of maneuvering passed like minutes. Jax was everywhere at once, though in reality he was alone, using the ship's systems to multiply his presence. He could feel the vessel reacting to him, almost like a partner in battle. The more he fought, the more the ship seemed to trust his judgment, following commands faster than he could give them. Even as he celebrated small victories, new dangers appeared. One alien warship, larger than the rest, detached from the fleet and approached with caution. Its weapons were more advanced, its shields stronger, its captain clearly aware of Jax's unpredictability. Jax studied it, scanning for weaknesses. He realized that brute force would not win this fight. Instead, he had to think differently, act unpredictably, and use every trick he had learned. He directed drones to create false targets, drawing the enemy ship into a narrow asteroid field. Then, using the Starship's mobility, he made a sudden maneuver, swinging the vessel in a tight arc. The alien ship fired its main cannon, but the asteroid field blocked the blast. At the same time, pulse beams struck the ship from multiple angles, disabling its engines. The alien captain's strategy relied on predictability, and human unpredictability was devastating. Jax grinned as the ship drifted, powerless, then activated the final trap, a gravity pulse that slammed the vessel into the nearest asteroid. Metal screamed as it collided, and the enemy ship was destroyed. Victory, however, came at a cost. The Starship had sustained damage, and Jax was exhausted. He moved through corridors, checking systems, repairing conduits, and recalibrating weapons. The ship hummed around him, alive and learning, responding to his touch in ways no alien design could anticipate. He realized something crucial. This ship was more than a weapon. It was a reflection of human ingenuity, a testament to adaptability, creativity, and survival. Alien empires relied on precision and power, but humans relied on resourcefulness and unpredictability. That made the difference. As he rested briefly, the communication console crackled. A message came from a distant human colony, one that had previously dismissed him as a minor mechanic. "We see the energy signature. Is it controlled by humans?" Jax smiled faintly. "Yes, by one human," he whispered. The colony would spread the news quickly, and the galaxy would begin to take notice. Humans were not just survivors. They were capable of shaping the balance of power. But he could not linger in comfort. More enemies would come. Mercenaries, alien fleets, and even rival human factions would all try to take the ship. Jax began preparing for the inevitable. He studied the ship's systems relentlessly, improving defenses, upgrading weapons, and integrating alien drones with human tactical logic. He created complex simulations in the ship's computer, anticipating attacks and testing strategies. Every system, every modification was a step toward making the impossible manageable. One night, as he tested a new weapon configuration, he noticed an anomaly on the sensors. A large fleet approaching at high speed. Not mercenaries this time, but a full alien armada, likely alerted by the earlier battle. They were organized, numerous, and deadly. The numbers alone would crush any normal human ship. Jax did not hesitate. He activated the ship's full capabilities, bringing every system online. The vessel responded instantly, Shields flaring, weapons arcing with deadly precision. Drones swarmed, forming a defensive perimeter. Pulse beams fired preemptively, striking the leading ships before they could organize. The alien fleet advanced, confident in their strength, but human unpredictability was already in motion. Jax executed a series of maneuvers no alien pilot could anticipate, weaving through space like a dancer, striking, retreating, and striking again. Each attack was calculated, yet seemingly chaotic, exploiting weaknesses the aliens did not know they had. Hours turned into a grueling battle. The starship's hull shuddered under minor hits, energy cores flared, and corridors shook. Yet every time a new threat emerged, Jax found a way to counter it. One human mind, improvising constantly, was outmatching entire fleets designed for war. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the alien armada began to retreat. Ships fled in disarray, battered and humiliated. The galaxy would remember this day, not because of alien power, not because of advanced technology, but because a single human mechanic had turned an abandoned starship into a force beyond reckoning. Jack slumped in his chair, breathing heavily. The ship hummed softly around him, alive, learning and responding to his presence. He realized the truth. Human ingenuity was the ultimate weapon. The aliens had relied on numbers and technology, but humans relied on creativity, adaptability, and courage. That made the difference. As he checked the ship's systems, he reflected on the path ahead. The galaxy would not forget this victory. Other fleets would come, stronger and smarter, and he would have to continue to adapt. But he was ready. The abandoned ship was no longer just a relic. It was a symbol of human potential, a vessel capable of reshaping the galaxy. For the first time, Jax allowed himself a small smile. The legend of a lone human mechanic had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn that humans were unpredictable, relentless, and capable of extraordinary feats. Outside the observation window, stars sparkled as if in approval. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and indifferent. But humans had found their place, not through power alone, but through ingenuity. And Jax, aboard the Reforged Starship, was ready to show them all. The battles were far from over. The galaxy would continue to challenge him. But now, he was no longer just a mechanic. He was a pilot, engineer, strategist, and symbol. One human mind, guiding an ancient alien weapon, could change the balance of power. And Jax knew, without doubt, that the final chapter was still ahead. The time when the ship, fully reforged and fully human-driven, would face its ultimate test. The galaxy had begun to take notice. Whispers of a human mechanic commanding an ancient alien warship had spread across star systems. Alien fleets hesitated when they heard the stories. Human colonies cheered when they saw distant flashes of battles won. And Jax Halden, alone, guided the ship through space, knowing that the final challenge was near. Reports came from the frontier colonies. A massive alien invasion fleet was moving to destroy human settlements. The colonies had no hope against such overwhelming numbers. Entire systems could fall before reinforcements arrived. The people called for help, not expecting any. But Jax was already on the move. He stood in the control chamber, surrounded by glowing panels, drones, and energy conduits. The ship hummed around him, alive, waiting, and responsive to his commands. He had spent months learning it, repairing it, transforming it from a drifting ghost into the ultimate human weapon. "Time to show them what humans can do," he muttered. He activated the navigation systems, plotting a course to intercept the alien armada. Outside, stars streamed by as the starship accelerated, faster than any human vessel should have been able to move. The abandoned ship had become something new, a fusion of alien power and human creativity. The first scouts arrived, sleek fighters intended to slow him down. Jax had expected them. He deployed drones in swarms, each one attacking with a combination of pulse beams and gravitational disruptions. Fighters were torn apart before they could reach him. The alien command realized too late that they were facing not just a ship, but a human mind guiding it. Then the main fleet appeared. Thousands of ships stretching across the void, armed with advanced weapons and shields. Alien captains had expected fear, perhaps surrender. They had underestimated humans. Jax smiled faintly. Big mistake. He began his assault carefully. Alien fleets relied on formation, order, and anticipation. Humans relied on creativity. Jax moved the ship in unpredictable arcs, launching drones to sabotage engines, firing pulse beams to create chain reactions, and using gravity fields to redirect entire enemy squadrons into collisions with each other. Chaos became his weapon. Hours passed. Explosions lit the void as ships disintegrated one by one. The alien fleet tried to regroup, but Jax had learned to think faster than they could. He combined alien drones with human tactics, creating attack patterns that no alien fleet could anticipate. Still, the battle was not without risk. The ship took damage, shields flared and energy conduits overheated. Jax worked quickly, running through corridors, repairing systems while fighting the fleet, improvising solutions no human had ever attempted before. He realized the key. The ship responded to his ingenuity, not brute force. Every time he thought creatively, the ship adapted instantly, anticipating his needs. He was no longer just piloting it, he was becoming one with it. The alien commanders grew frustrated. They had never faced an opponent who refused to act predictably. Every plan they devised crumbled under human unpredictability. Jax's tactics were wild, creative, and relentless. And through it all, the Starship followed him, its alien systems enhanced by his human logic. Then came the final threat. The flagship of the alien fleet, larger than anything else, heavily armed and shielded with energy fields that defied direct attacks. Its captain, a legendary war strategist, moved to intercept Jax. Jax studied the flagship carefully. He knew he could not defeat it head-on. Instead, he would use his greatest advantage, human creativity. He deployed a series of decoy drones, leading the flagship into an asteroid field. He manipulated gravity fields and energy pulses, creating false openings and deadly traps. The flagship pursued, confident in its superiority. But it had miscalculated. A sudden surge from the Starship's engines sent it swinging through the field, dodging energy blasts and using asteroids as cover. Pulse beams struck the flagship from angles it could not anticipate. Drones sabotaged its shields, and Jax prepared the final attack. He activated the ship's fully enhanced weapon system. Alien technology and human modifications combined into a devastating assault. Beams of energy tore through the flagship's hull. Gravity pulses destabilized its engines. Drones struck every weak point with precision. The flagship shuddered, sparks flying across its surface. And then, with a final pulse, it exploded, scattering debris across the void. Silence followed. Jax floated in the control chamber, exhausted but victorious. The alien fleet had been defeated, and human colonies were safe. The galaxy had seen the impossible, a single human mechanic commanding a weapon that could rival entire fleets. He allowed himself a moment to breathe. Outside the observation window, stars stretched endlessly, cold but indifferent. And yet, in that vast emptiness, humanity had carved its mark. Jax knew that humans were no longer underestimated. The legend had begun. Word spread quickly. Across the frontier colonies, transmissions spoke of the mechanic and the ghost ship. Humans celebrated their survival, inspired by the ingenuity and courage of one person. Alien civilizations hesitated before engaging human forces, wary of the unknown creativity they might face. Jax, however, did not linger in glory. He knew that victory today did not guarantee safety tomorrow. The galaxy was full of threats, and the ship was a tool, not a trophy. He began upgrading systems further, training drones, and preparing contingency plans. He documented every discovery, every modification, creating a manual that could allow others to continue his work. Yet even as he worked, he understood something more profound. Humans were not defined by strength alone. They were defined by curiosity, creativity, and the willingness to take risks. One person could make a difference in ways that no empire, no fleet, no alien intelligence could predict. The Starship, once abandoned and forgotten, had become a symbol. Its scars were no longer evidence of past battles, but of a future forged by human ingenuity. And Jax, its human pilot, its mechanic, and its strategist, had proven what humans were capable of. As he looked out at the stars, he realized that the galaxy had changed. Alien fleets, once confident in their dominance, would now approach humans with caution. Human colonies, once isolated and vulnerable, now had a protector capable of defending entire systems. And one mechanic, small in the scale of the galaxy, had shown that imagination and intellect could outmatch raw power. The legend of the Reforged Starship spread. Humans everywhere whispered about it, not as a weapon, but as proof that they could survive, adapt, and triumph against impossible odds. Children dreamed of becoming engineers and pilots, inspired by the tale of Jax Halden, the human who had tamed a ghost ship and turned it into a galaxy-defining force. Jax allowed himself a rare smile. He had begun as a simple mechanic, wandering the void in search of scrap metal. He had found a derelict alien ship and transformed it into the ultimate symbol of human potential. And now, as the galaxy adjusted to the reality of human ingenuity, he understood that the story was far from over. The ship hummed around him, alive, aware, and ready. Jax ran his hands along a console, feeling the pulse of alien technology enhanced by human creativity. Together they had faced fleets, survived ambushes, and defended countless lives. Together they had shown the galaxy that humans were unpredictable, relentless, and capable of extraordinary feats. He looked once more at the stars, shining cold and distant. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but it would never forget the day one human mechanic had taken a forgotten starship, reforged it, and changed the balance of power forever. And with that thought, Jax set a new course. Beyond the frontier colonies lay unknown systems, alien civilizations he had yet to encounter, and challenges that would test both human ingenuity and courage. The Starship, a relic of the past reborn, would carry him forward. For now, he was no longer just a mechanic. He was a legend, a symbol of what humanity could achieve when intelligence, courage, and creativity came together. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans could not be underestimated. The stars stretched ahead, infinite and full of possibilities, and Jax Halden, aboard the reforged alien starship, was ready to meet them all.